The next company, there's a presenter from KION. KION is, well, it's not family owned, and it's the youngest company we have presenting here today. It was actually founded in 2006 and was several well-known companies who merged together and became KION. There's parts of Linde, Still, Jungheinrich, etc. So the company is quite large, 42,000 employees. The headquarter is in Frankfurt, and KION is a world market leader and technology leader in intralogistics. They're making forklifts, they're making complex logistics solution, provide software for intralogistics. So a very interesting company. And today we have the pleasure to have Rodrigo Erazo here, who's the IT portfolio manager at KION, and who is the only person I've ever met who lived on the Galapagos Islands. So, Rodrigo, all over to
Hi.
you.
Hi, thank you very much. Well, not only live, but my mother was born there, so I'm from Galapagos descendant. I'm some sort of a tortoise, if you would like to say it. But let's continue with the presentation. Um, uh, let's see. So, let me check. Sorry, no. I don't know if it's clear. Perfect. Then, so this is our presentation for KION Group, ServiceNow at SPM at KION Group IT. Let's start with the agenda for today. We'll start with a brief introduction about myself, about KION Group IT, what we do, why we went for ServiceNow as a strategic tool, actually, what is the project overview, what have been the lessons learned, and the conclusions. Introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit of myself. I'm Rodrigo Andrés Erazo. I have been working in KION since October 2019. I just celebrated my 8th year at KION. I started as a work student. Since I started at day one, I have been related with the creation of the portfolio of the IT projects here at KION. Well, I'm the developer, or I would say the proud father of a Frankenstein solution, which was called KIPS. What I have done in my early career, I studied business administration. I was working on a project of a planning administration of the first eco-luxury lodge on Galapagos Island, which is a very successful project there. If you have the chance, I would recommend you to visit. And for personal interest and spend time outside. Normally, when I'm not in Germany, I try to go to the beach, ride a bike, go to forest, or of course, spotting sharks in the water. I want to talk about KION Group IT. About KION. KION is one of the world leaders of industrial trucks and supply chain solutions. We have renowned brands such as Linde, Fenwick, Stihl, Violi, Dematic. I know, at least from my personal experience, most of the people don't know KION, or also don't think there's a German company, but however, it is a German company, and most of the trucks or the forklifts that you will see they're always to be seen in the main train station. You always see the small trucks carrying some packages around from one way to another. So mostly those are from KION, or at least from Linde or Stihl. As mentioned, we are one of the leading companies on industrial truck sales in EMEA, and second and globally. About KION Group IT, who we are, we're trying to establish as a one global strong team, which has around 1,000 employees at 20 countries. We deliver all of the global IT services for the KION Group. We offer a 24/7 support. We have around 42,000 users, and we try to provide the state-of-the-art solutions. Here are our main, I would say, points that we offer to KION Group. In some of them are security, quality, digitalization, time to market in terms of bringing new projects, business acumen, and performance. Why ServiceNow? I'm going to go to the next part. Before I start talking about ServiceNow, I would like to start what was the development of the tool of the portfolio management here at KION in 2017, where I started. There was no portfolio. We only had one Excel spreadsheet and one SharePoint solution. The one was used for demand, and the second one was for portfolio. So my main task was to create a global overview. At least at that time was not a global overview, but at least the view in Germany about the demand IT projects. Therefore, we tried to start implementing a framework into the portfolio, and we end up with a big list that was over 160 columns. It was something terrible, and only a few people were understanding that. However, we did see that while we were trying to analyze the data, we needed much more attributes, and then we start creating different kinds of SharePoint lists and adding different kinds of dimensions, and the solution started growing. Then we thought, okay, it's very difficult to have the overview of the different dimensions and lists, so we created a Power BI so that we were able to have dashboards, and we were able to have a real-time analysis of the data. The next step in 2021, well, the complex was very, very complicated to understand, so we started implemented Power Apps, and at the end we had this acronym which was KIPS, KION IT Portfolio Systems, which is complicated. Here's in a nutshell the full picture of KIPS, and as you can see, there are different apps, different lists, different reports, and from that time we started saying, okay, it's no longer efficient to work in this way, because it was very complicated for at least for our business partners to understand. And also another important step that we had is within the last years we started not only being the central solution for Germany, but for other regions, and other regions had different kind of processes. They have other kinds of requirements, and while we started training all of their users, we saw, okay, this is we have to look also for other solutions. So how did we end up with ServiceNow? Actually, we had the first approach of ServiceNow in 2020, while we were trying to see tools for project management, and we did have the first approach with ServiceNow. We did saw there was some similarity in terms of phases and fields, and then we said, okay, we did had I would say we really wanted to have ServiceNow, but for one reason or another, we didn't end up choosing ServiceNow. However, in 2022, KION Group IT searches for a centralized service management office tool for the finance COE. So this we started with this project when their main objectives were to centralize and streamline the request of handling, improve the visibility of request status, and automate the workflows for efficiency. So they had also, like us, a different kind of tools. They were really complicated, and we're trying to improve the efficiency. And what they started having were this kind of benefits. The benefits was enhanced operational efficiency, greater transparency, optimized resource allocation, implementation for agile methodology with focus of also training, the only risk that we had at the moment was resistance to change, and integration challenges because the other countries had the same like us and other processes, and the need for ongoing support. So when we launched the project, they had a really good impact to the company. There was a really good positive user feedback with implementation, and as an outcome was that we choose ServiceNow as strategic fit for the future for the company, and we did have in scope, okay, we have now to go with SPM, and with one of the tools that we had in house, which is Remedy Force, which is end life I think is this year. Then we thought, okay, we will also go for ITSM initiatives. So at the moment, actually, we are going live with ITSM. So it is something always going on with ServiceNow. So how did this journey with SPM went? at that time. So for the wave one, we had a requirement from the board that they wanted to have an automated solution to approve projects and be able to have all of the information at a glance. And that was the request. And we said, okay, we wanted to create a tool. We want to and we want to migrate all of our processes that we have implemented in the skips into ServiceNow. Because we already had like a service and a framework, and we said, okay, we probably would need to have this one-on-one solution, and we'll see how this will go. So we wanted to replace everything that was related to the demand and the approval of the project into ServiceNow, and especially where the focus was, okay, we want to have these approvals by the KION Group IT management team and the KION board. So that was the first aim. What happened there is that it was not really successful. And the processes were different, even though we had similar fields and similar states, and there was some issues, and we saw, okay, also the approvals, the flows were not really working as we really wanted, as we really thought. So we needed to rework. And from the second part of the second wave that we had was, okay, our process might be too complex. We cannot make ServiceNow to adapt to our tools, but we have to start working with ServiceNow, and we have to start simplifying our process, rethinking everything that we have in place and work over the different years, optimizing workflows, and see, okay, something needs to be redone and rework. And also we started using in this case PlanHorizon as a much more as a partner, and say, okay, how can we improve our processes and getting much work together with them, help us to get a better outcome from the wave two. We corrected a lot of errors. We did a lot of enhancing of the approval process. Also, we started working much more with mobile phone solution that was not implemented in the first phase, and was also highly required. So if we compare the wave one with the wave two, it was a totally different level. The acceptance was much more. All of the management was more happy with the solution, and also our users were more happy with it, because in the first wave there was some sort of frustration feeling in the users and the management team. So after a successful wave two, we started with the portfolio management, and with the aim also to start tracking the cost transparency of the projects, since all of these are, well, for now, are still allocated in KIPs for the moment. But we wanted to have, the aim was to have this year start the global budget run using SPM. So we started to use the portfolio management solution, and we did have, again, we had to change our structure, rethink on how we want to build the different portfolios around the world and around all of the different customers, because we have, even though we are a group, we have different customers for the IT, and we needed to rethink all what we have and implement an easy way to allocate and see, okay, what are the budgets for all the different customers in a way. So it really helped us a lot to rethink our processes. And I would say, as a part of our lessons learned in this third phase, was like, before introducing or starting a new wave, we have to rethink everything what we have done, allocating the way of how can we improve the processes, trying to see where the things can be changed and we can be improved. And since wave two, we have improved the way that we are trying to implement this SPM into KION Group IT, and it was really great to work with this in this year, the budget phase. It was very easy. It was very intuitive to work with it, and also it was very clear. Even though I know we still have KION specific processes that are not really SPM friendly. However, we did find a middle way on how to work together. And I would also like to say it. I think Andreas, you have been also there a lot. Thanks a lot for all of the conversations and support that we get from you all of the times that we have crisis. So it has us a lot this year. For the future plans, what we want to achieve is the end-to-end process from the demand to create the approved budget and end of the demand and go into the project. Full replacement of KIPs, which would include like status reporting, milestone tracking, and it has a project lifecycle management, which is now still in KIPs. And we are really eager, and we're trying to wait for just a final go from our side to start with the wave 4. And of course, implementation of AI. That's something that it's not here in the presentation, but it's also in our a part of our goals for next year. And yeah, and there's also, as like other partners were saying, what we try to achieve sometime soon is also resource management. Is something that we see it's coming into us, but I don't know if this will be part of wave 4. Lessons learned that we have. I think what one of the biggest issues that we discover is that while we were using when we were creating the skip solution, we did have some sort of governance, which is was much more centralized, and we see now with ServiceNow in our case is we need much more people that have to work with us into their own process. Business partners have to be much more aware of their processes, which are totally different of the portfolio managers and the project managers. So we did have to create a different kind of races to see, okay, who is responsible? How do we want to change our interaction between each other? Because this was also what it really hit us at the beginning. The communication, tons of communication, including the steercom members, to make clear, okay, what do we want to do? How do we want to achieve? What is the goal? What are we aiming in the next years? I think the requirements. I think this is also a very important thing that we have is trying to have a partner that is like PlanHorizon in this case has helped us a lot. We have been able to talk a lot about the requirements, rethink of processes. Sometimes we have a lot of frustrated conversations, but taking time to define the requirements and see what is the gap between what we have in place at the moment and SPM, and probably try to aim at the critical points and discover them and see, okay, how can we change it? How can we improve the process? That's very important. Testing, I think testing has also. I mean, I know it's very essential, but sometimes you need people that are compromised for doing testing, because from the one side, even though we are IT and we have people testing, not all of the people have enough capabilities to do, and sometimes it might be underestimated, and that's something that also we try to say, okay, we need people that are much more committed, or at least they need to help us in the beginning, because at the end it benefits us. If everything works fine, then it benefits all of us. And training, and however, it's of course as another part that is important, especially if we are working in a global company with different teams. It might be some challenging to try to get over this, I would say, cultural and language barriers that you may have. So this is also something that it has to not be underestimated in when launching a new solution that involves a big change. As the conclusion, ServiceNow was I think one of the, after we understood how ServiceNow worked, and after, I would say, having a will fail in the wave 1, I think we're very happy to have ServiceNow as a tool. We do understand that, of course, this is I wouldn't say that we don't have a finish line, but we have an ongoing process with new things that are coming, new capabilities. We have now AI, and of course, this will be I would say, an ongoing approach to improve our processes and improve ourselves into working with ServiceNow, and of course, trying to have a better portfolio management in a global company. We have, I think, a proven value. I think most of the management are very happy with what have been done. And what now we see that other people from business, they are also asking us, okay, how can we work together? How can we get access into the tool? So it also gives us the feeling of okay, how can we not only, because at the moment now SPM is more used into the IT, how can we also roll out the tool into other part of the businesses with different kinds of structures, with different kind of requirements. So we do see that we have to again probably see how can we achieve this kind of requirements that we see going, and yeah, and strategic alignment and next steps. I would say, like, yeah, it was the right choice to choose ServiceNow as a strategic fit into the group. And as I mentioned, the next step at the moment is implementing ITSM as a replace from Remedy Force, and this is now into the go live phase. So there's a lot of going on here in our company, and we hope to have a very good go live soon. Thank you very much. I hope I have been able to help you with any information.
Rodrigo, thank you very much for the great presentation. And yeah, I remember the KIPS discussions, and yes, I think this is one of the reasons we do this kind of conferences, this kind of presentation. There are things you would do again in the same way, and there are things you would not do again. So why shouldn't other customers or prospects learn from that? So yeah, so we had to do it twice, and now it works. No? I think, and you mentioned that due to the sheer size of KION and your relatively short history and the fact that it's made up of different companies with their distinct cultures. And I remember some years ago, there were many different CIOs. So, of course, this is more of an integration challenge than in a smaller company with more grown culture. So, and yes, I do remember our conversation about applying AI to your demand management process, and let's do it next year. But I would like, so great presentation. What I would like to add here for the audience, when you joined us in the beginning, I pointed out that we have developed a tool which is a tool by itself for IT financial management, but it also complements strategic portfolio management and enterprise architecture management. KION is actually one of the first customers of this tool, which is named Sphinx. So we will have this conference on SPM and Sphinx in next year in February. And yeah, we have some discussions with your colleague Christina, and it looks like there will be a Sphinx presentation, which will also address what you are doing in SPM with forecasting and budgeting. And that is actually the first question we have here. So you have moved budget approvals, planning, forecasting into SPM. Do you see improvements in budget accuracy?
Yes, it has helped us a lot, because we are now able to, we have a tool which is much more intuitive for the customer. So we will able to provide some access to the customer, so they're able to see, okay, this is really what I have in the list. Well, in KIPS, everything was in Power BI. It was kind of it was also intuitive, but you needed to know the filters. You needed to put a lot of things together to get there was a lot of way around in order to get the results. But now with ServiceNow, it was very easy. You have different kind of portfolios. You have this dedicated portfolio workspace module where everything was there. So it was pretty much of granting access. You have these filters, this is yours. You can now see all of the information there. I would say we had a really great feedback from customers to with accuracy of the data. So they want to say, okay, this project is there, this project is not there, cut it here, cut it there. So it was, there was some work involved, but it was, I would say, the transparency was there, and also they were eager to get access and to manage the tool. So now we had to put a break into the customer. Say, okay, yeah, you don't have all the rights that we have, step by step.
Yeah, step by step, exactly. Another question, as you manage the in the IT spend approval process, do you see a possible application of AI in that area?
We have not really, I mean, we have an approval workflow, which is just for approving in a management level all of the projects. We don't have, I mean, we do see the possibility to create or implement AI for this process. We think probably we need to have to start looking at the use cases and say, okay, how can we try to improve the reports? And I think it's, especially when you see people working from other countries, it will help us, because sometimes you see, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you hear people from France writing in French, and you have the management in Germany looking like, okay, what is this about? So
Okay.
yeah, I do think it will help us a lot. Also, we have colleagues in China, and they also struggle with the language. So yeah, we do see AI as a tool that will help us with the approval process.
Okay, last question from my side. Yeah, we're discussing Wave 4, and so when will we start resource management?
Everybody is eager for that. I think at the moment, one of the biggest internal issues is that we are under a restructure. That's why we were not able to launch phase 4. So I think once we have the new structure and we start working in phase 4, we probably may start with discussions with resource management, because at the moment there's, as I mentioned, a lot of internal discussions and other priorities to solve before. I mean, we have to probably relook at what we want to do, define a new goals, and then when we are set, I think it should be probably we could have the discussion next year. I did have a question on that, and I need to get back to you on resource management, actually, but
Yeah.
that's
Happy
another
to
topic.
discuss it. As you saw today, Trumpf has done some groundbreaking work there. So this is really our model example now, how that is implemented. And then let's discuss. Yes.
Exactly. And also, since we see that we are launching ITSM, we have
Yes,
to see the integration. So there is a lot of, I think, milestones that need to achieve. The question, it's a question of time. I would say it could happen sooner than later. But I guess first we have to release ITSM. I think that's
definitely.
the aim goal from the company from this year. Then once we are finished with the project management, I think then we are able to see, okay, how is everything structured?
That is a big chunk. I think we will also have some integration between Sphinx and IT service management. And yeah, looking forward to help you with services, TCOs, and chargebacks and all these things.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm so looking
great
forward.
stuff, great presentation. Thank you very much. And